Way! Sunderland take over everywhere we go. Sunderland take over everywhere we go.
Oh, depends on the ears, I think, when everyone's clapping next to the mics.
Get in, man. Well, hey, we're here. We've made it. Terry only got back 20 minutes ago. We've been back, me and Karen and Jack, we've all been back. He's just had his tea. We've all been back a couple of hours. Dino got back the early hours of this morning. Oh, lads, I mean, what a weekend. We've been joined by Jack Dodds. Jack, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling absolutely brilliant, Philly. Being completely honest, hand on heart, I think it's genuinely been the best weekend of my life. Not even just the match. I mean, the match was obviously incredible, but it was the feeling afterwards. You know, we must have been out till I think about 2-3 a.m. in London. It got to the point where we were just sort of walking around London, and there was randomers just sort of seeing with Sunderland fans joining in, singing songs, and honestly, it was just the Trafalgar Square last night, just sort of bumping into people every 2 seconds and celebrating with people who, you know, I've beaten the games with this season, you know, losing 4-0 at Portsmouth and 5-1 at Rotherham and all of them, and it was just such a lovely feeling last night.
Jack, let me jump in because I'm going to ask you about these sort of things anyway. So we'll just quickly go around. Dino's here. Dino, travel back through the night. Are you shattered, Dino?
It was exhausting. It's been a very exhausting weekend. For me, it wasn't a lot of alcohol. I didn't go down for the alcohol. I went down to soak up the atmosphere. And obviously, I got to see all you lads down there at least a couple of times, you know. It was just good to see everybody down there, everyone having a good time, everyone doing what they do best, just celebrating. And then obviously what happened on the Saturday was just amazing. And the travel back was a bit rough for me because we had no room on the bus, but I got back into Sunderland about 5 o'clock and there was still people everywhere. Getting a taxi was a nightmare, and just overall, just what a weekend. But I'm exhausted and I just can't wait to go to sleep tonight, to be fair.
That's fair enough.
You know what, right? Sorry, guys, interrupt. Sunderland have been promoted after 4 seasons in League One, and it's the most Dino Elgar statement I've ever heard from him to say, I just can't wait to get to sleep.
Terry, you've been in about 20 minutes, absolutely starving, so he's got his pizza there. How you feeling, Terry?
Do you know what it is? I've been down the last twice. It was Portsmouth and Charlton. We did the whole day thing, and I was absolutely exhausted and depressed at the end of it all. This weekend's been brilliant. It's been a breath of fresh air. I'm getting back. I feel quite good, quite chilled. I've never had that much to drink, to be fair. On the likes of you three, we're probably pelagic on most nights I've seen you. Dino looks hammered on Friday night. Never mind, see, I had not to drink. He looked hammered on Friday night.
No.
He was laughing, he was dancing.
No, I wasn't hammered. I had an hour's sleep. I'd done night shift. I only had half an hour on the train, half an hour on the hotel going out. I'd literally been up for about 24 hours. I was more tired, if anything. I was shattered.
Right. We'll give you that. But it's been, I mean, even coming back today, we're walking through London Main Wincy, and there was Everton fans coming up congratulating us, Leeds fans coming over saying well done. It was absolutely brilliant, fans from all over the place. It was just that, I was walking through London when we saw the top one. Fantastic. People everywhere.
We had that coming down Wembley Way when we was coming back from the hotel. There's it's the FA Trophy vase, and so there was Wrexham fans and
there was one or two unsavoury moments, and that's about it, really. But just one or two fans being a bit nasty, but not too bad.
I'm going to get on to that anyway, as well. For me, I mean, I just found it funny. Jack was sat with me and Karen in the ground, and we won, and the jubilation of it all. And then we sort of went, what are we supposed to do? Because we're normally at the end of the game, we're walking down Wembley, we're, kicking pebbles and sick us out, going, I can't believe it again. And we won, and everybody's like, what are we supposed to do? But anyway, listen, we are live, so you can join us via the live chat. We'll try and include as many people as we can. Already we've got 2,500 people on there. 53 likes. Hit the thumbs up. Do that. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's free to do, and that will help us out. Last Farmers Mackham is on there. Cyber Jeff. Neil Thompson. Tony Lee, who's changed his name to Anthony on there to try and stop us calling him Tony, but that's not going to happen. Tony Lee. Tremendous day yesterday. Very emotional. Thanks to SAFC Fan TV for the platform giving us fans to have your opinions. Thank you very much, Tony, for that. Robert Foster, DJ Sizzler Watson, Lord Staines on there, Bristolian Mackham. There's hundreds of you. We'll try, like I said, to accommodate you all if we can. I want to thank everybody who came up to us. We, when we was down there, came up and said hello to us down there. It was great to meet loads of you. Ian Wilkinson, who's a regular on here, he was Friday night. He was chatting to us. And thanks very much for all. We've had loads of messages. I've not had a chance to reply to them all yet, but we will try and get back and sort of thank you for all that. And we also want to apologise for our live streams on Friday night in Trafalgar Square. Quality wasn't good. To be honest, I bought some new equipment and hadn't had time to test it properly, and it's just so apologies for that. But we have got some great footage to put together for you of the day, which hopefully you'll all enjoy. So, Terry, start us off the match. Overall thoughts of it?
Probably the most nervous I've ever been during the game. It's the only time I've never enjoyed a match until the final whistle. I felt sick for the majority of the time. I never knew I could feel that way. It was just an overwhelming experience on the day. I just thought, like, I just never enjoyed it. But as soon as the game kicked off, you could tell straight away we were doing what I thought we would do. Treat it like a home match. Treat it like a home match. The majority of fans there really go for them from the start, dictate to them exactly the way we did against Sheffield Wednesday. And when Pritchard did that free kick, I was convinced, and the angle that was in the back of the net. I was cheering, I was recording, and then I thought, why is nobody else shouting? And then I was like cheering over 5 minutes, and I thought, no, what? I was thinking, I'm daft, it's not a goal.
Sorry, me and Karen when everybody around was jumping about, and I thought, what's the matter with Jack? I thought Jack would have been like, and Jack was not. I mean, for a good 30 seconds, we were still and we thought, we look like right muppets, but
well, I mean, and that was before the free kick was taken.
Exactly.
And I was actually thinking, has the referee not give this for some reason? Why is the referee disallowed this? I just didn't understand why this allowed it. And then someone said, it's at the side net. And I went, bloody hell.
Yeah,
typical.
You saw the net ripple.
I know.
There, didn't you? And that was like,
but then we missed another couple of chances. But Embleton finally scored and the place erupted. It was absolutely fantastic scenes. But I know I wanted to get to half time as quick. I was counting seconds down, counting the minutes down. I wanted to get to half time as soon as possible in front.
Well,
they got half time.
They got a free kick right on 44 minutes or something, didn't they?
Yes, and I remember saying this is the perfect situation for them to score. Jacobson was taking it. I think he's had a fair few assists from set pieces. They had all their big lads in the box, and it was just sort of like this is where they score, goes at the half time 1-1, and they come out with a different game plan and beat us.
I think barring that opportunity from Vokes where he was clean through and Patterson did a really good job, I thought we completely dictated the pace, dominated the game. I didn't, apart from my own emotions, knowing it's Sunderland, apart from that, really we weren't under the cosh that much. And until Stewart scored, even when Stewart scored, I was still thinking there's 10 minutes to go. Don't let it go in, don't let it go. And I still couldn't celebrate properly until the whistle went, but absolutely fantastic occasion. Brilliant result. I'm absolutely over the moon.
Right, let's. I'll quickly go to the chat if I can. I'm there. Daniel Jenks is on there. The Jenks brothers. Emma, who comes on there. We met up with Emma a couple of times while I was down there. When that final whistle went, I bubbled like a baby. We'll get on a bits like that. Kev Muse says Jack looked a bit drunk. Michael Bowers is on there. I've missed what he was saying, but Michael, if you're watching, just keep on there. We'll look out for your contribution. Jeff Jeff Holcroft there. Wincy was absolutely chemist. Wincy couldn't even talk on in Trafalgar Square on Friday night. I think we had the camera out, and I think Jack said, "So Wincy." Asked if someone in Wincy went, "Oh."
I think I just said, Wincy, give us a. And he just went,
That's why I'm the chaperone. I'm the super chaperone. I look after him.
You didn't look after him very well, Terry.
Yeah,
he's fine. He's fine.
Carter McDonald says there, did anyone see Jude Bellingham and his brother? They walked past them on the way to the coach, apparently. So over to you then, Dino. Somebody asked, I think it was Kev Muse. Hang on, Ian Wilkinson's on. Hiya, boys, great chat. Yes, Ian Wilkinson, we were chatting to in Trafalgar Square. Thanks for coming over, saying hello. Kev Muse says, did Dino go to the game? Dino, did you go down to Wembley?
Well, did you see us down there, Whitfield? I mean, did you see me down there? Because I definitely was there, unless it was a look like.
I tell you what, with the happy mood you were in, you were almost unrecognisable, Dino.
Yes.
But
the game
on the whole day as a whole, like I was on the tube going up there with my mate James. You know, I'm going to interview his dad now. You know,
who's got a famous dad who played for Sunderland.
You know the crack with that, right? But we're on the way up, and there was a Sunderland fan sitting next to us because the tube was quite quiet, to be fair. And he was like, "How the day?" And I went, I says, "I'm confident." I says, "I don't think Wickham are that good. I honestly don't think Wickham are that good. I think we can beat them in a one-off game." And then when I seen the stadium, my arse went, and got that feeling. I was like, this place just brings back bad memories. And then we're walking up, and as you were getting closer and closer at the stadium, belly was just going. I was like, but I was still confident. But when you see the stadium, you just see the bad memories we've had in that place. When I've been there, you've been there since 1973, and just seen failure after failure after failure. And when I thought the atmosphere at the start of the game was amazing, the singing, the atmosphere was there. We were singing inside, outside. It was great atmosphere. And when the game kicked off, I thought the first 5 minutes, the atmosphere was great. And then you could sense the nerves. You could sense the nerves. We couldn't settle. We wanted that first goal. And the goal, what we got, I mean, I had a little bit of a debate with another Sunderland fan. He says that it was unstoppable. What a strike for me. They keep saving that. I'm sorry. It's straight at him. It might take.
I think it might.
I'm not being funny. If that's Patterson, we're all so disappointed he hasn't saved that. For me, that's a normal save to make. It's straight at you. You just need to power it away. And don't get us wrong, I'm buzzing it went in. I was celebrating. I was jumping all over the place. I had a lad next to us. I was jumping on him. It was absolutely amazing. And then from there, I was getting Charlton vibes when it was getting close at the second half time. I was getting the Charlton vibes. I was like, Yeah. And then we were giving away sloppy free kicks coming out the second half. We give away a couple of sloppy free kicks. I went, these will score from these. This is what they're good at. Free kicks into the box. And then we started getting on top. And then when that second goal went in, I mean, Stewart done what Stewart does. He was class all game. He put it through Stewart's legs. The lad who says, "This is our house," puts it through his legs. Offsets the keeper.
Yes. I don't mean to disappoint you, but he left Wickham years ago.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Anthony Stewart.
I'm not bothered.
He plays for Wimbledon.
Oh, does he play for Wimbledon? I thought it was him because didn't Gooch put retweeted the whole "this is our house" kind of thing.
No. Wait, Darius Charles. He I don't know if he still plays for Wimbledon now, but he went to Wimbledon not long after. But he did an interview with Sky Sports a few days ago, and he said that because of Wickham's experience, they should edge it. And my mistake. I didn't really see what the team was for Wickham, but when that goal went in, I knew that was it. I says, we've done it, and I was just enjoying the last 10 minutes, just bouncing around, and obviously, like you say, when we won, I didn't know what to do. I was
bouncing around, big and round, and bounces off the ground.
And just on the whole, it was absolutely class. It was really good. Just overall, brilliant day.
Right. Back to the chat just very quickly then. I was under the impression that Emma, a friend of ours who comes on the show, went down there with her husband. But Ian Wilkinson says that he had breakfast with Emma Well, we'll find out more about that, apparently. And don't forget, 320 odd on the chat already now, on the stream, sorry. Already at 100 likes. Let's see if we can get 200 tonight to help celebrate Sunderland being promoted. So if you haven't already, just hit the thumbs up. Take your second to do that. And more importantly, if you're not subscribed to the channel, it's free to subscribe, cost you nothing. Just hit that subscribe button, and that will help the channel out immensely. Jack, you were sat with us, so I've heard all your expletives and stuff like that. But your thoughts on it?
I thought the sort of first 10, 15 minutes up until Embleton's goal, we were absolutely brilliant. Put them under so much pressure. The passing and moving was really good. And I thought when Embleton got the goal, it was sorely deserved. Don't get us wrong. I think it was poor goalkeeping from Stockdale, but that's what Embleton can do. That's what he's so good at. Because he's both-footed and because he's sort of good at sort of both creating and scoring chances from the edge of the box. Sort of defenders don't really know what to do. You know, other players like Clark, for example, Clark loves to go on his right foot. Because Embleton can go on both, and he likes to shoot, and he likes to cross, and he likes to pass. He likes to keep the ball sometimes. Defenders don't really know what to do, and I think he had them on the back foot. They didn't really know which way to show him or which sort of way to put him off, and that's why I think Neil put him in for the final on the off chance that situation came about. To be honest, I thought after we scored the goal, I thought we dropped right off. Don't get me wrong, I still think, we defended well, but it was nerve-wracking. And I think for me, it wasn't until sort of Embleton scored that I actually got really nervous, because then it felt as if we had something to lose. Do you know what I mean? And I think so when we were sat off it and with were coming at us and coming at us and coming at us, but just didn't quite have that quality to really create something. But you could just sort of see it happening, and giving a few free kicks away. I think Dino mentioned it, and I could just sort of see it, a Wickham goal happening. And then when Stewart's goal went in, I was almost speechless. I don't even think I celebrated because I was just that frozen on the spot. But just absolutely over the moon to have done it. It hasn't really sort of fully sunk in yet, to be honest.
Right, okay. Terry, you was one in there?
Yeah, does anybody else think the same thing? Whatever Alex Neil does is spot on. He started Embleton for the first time, dropped Jack Clark, and he scores the goal. I mean, how can he do that? What an absolute guy. What amazing that is. Amazing, just doing that over and over again with his substitutions or not substitutions. Just always gets it right.
Right, fair enough. Dino, I'll come to you in a sec. Let me quickly go to the chat. Conrad's on there. Of course, part of our channel. We met up with Conrad at Wembley, looking very trim. He's lost a bit of weight there as well. Looking.
Give it all to me and Dino.
Yes. Conrad says about their goalie, he's a Darlow reject, apparently, and also says serves Wickham right for cheating 2 years ago. Conrad can't just let that go, apparently. Maximilian von Finchelstein, great name there. All right. Broadhead, Clark, and Roberts must sign. I don't know where was that. What about oh, sorry, Dino. You was
I wanted in. I mean, on Alex Neil. I mean, I must admit, when we brought him in, I wasn't excited for the bloke. I didn't think he was the man for the job. And I've got to take a bit of a, what's it called, sour sauce? What was it? What do you call it? Humble pie. That's it. I need a bit of humble pie. I'm sick of having pie. I'm sick of having pie, but I got it totally wrong. I didn't rate the bloke. I didn't think he'd be able to do anything. And he turned away from a team leaking goals who wasn't playing very well, who couldn't follow a game plan, to a strong side in defence, going forward, more organised. And he'd done something I didn't think he could do. So, I mean, I was so wrong on that appointment. I thought the board got it so wrong, but they got it so right. And I'm actually excited to see what Neil can actually do next season, because he only came in January and he's turned it around. I didn't even think we'd make playoffs. I thought we were shambles, and he's done so much. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do next season. I really can't. So props to him.
Right. Just very quickly back to the chat. Brian Cox says, we were never in trouble at all. To be fair, I've spoken to a lot of people and said, oh, yeah, there was only one team in it and stuff like that. I'll come to you in a sec, Terry. For me, a bit like Jack, that first 15 minutes, great. But I didn't like the fact that everybody was so confident. And I've seen them lose all those many times. And I just thought second half, when they came out for half an hour, I thought they keep this up, they're going to score. And people have said, nah, was never even bothered. Terry?
Yeah, from the last few games up to the final, I've been the same. I just like even the final day, I'm thinking to myself, we can win this. Everything's in our favour. We have to win this, and you feel confident about winning, but you just don't want to say that you feel confident. You don't want to say that you believe in it, and then as soon as you start watching the match, your mind and your body starts playing tricks for you. You suddenly think, well, we're never going to lose this game, but everything in your body and your mind, you just think something's going to happen. Something's going to happen somewhere, and that's just absolutely amazing. We're actually seeing this through.
I'll go to you first, Dino, then I'll come to you, Jack.
Well, with what you've just said there, like about the conference-wise, when we played Charlton, there's been a history there. Obviously, the 3-3 and the pens and all that stuff. Pompey, when we played, no, not Pompey, not that final. So you had the Charlton one, where like you go to Wembley, there's history there. Every time we've played them, it's a close game. And then you've got the Pompey check a trade. It was always a close game. I don't think we beat them that season. And then this one, Wickham, for me, Wickham aren't as good as them teams. They're a very aging team. They're just a very physical team. And on a pitch like Wembley, I just thought you can't play it there. They can't be as physical because it's a bigger pitch. And I just thought everything was in our favour. I was always nervous for the Pompey and Charlton game, but for this one, I was probably the most confident I've ever been. I thought if we're going to do it, it's going to be this one.
Fair enough. Jack, I'll come to you just now. Jeff Allcroft on there, by the way, that does remind us that I believe you set a challenge to a couple of your mates to come and get a photo with us. Well, one of your pals did actually come up to us in Trafalgar Square and said, "Oh, Jeff Allcroft, we're pals." So he's managed to do that. Jack, you was one name.
Yeah, it was sort of as much as we were the favourites, so it was a bit of a horrible situation to be going into, really, because I feel like we had everything to lose and Wickham didn't have much to lose. If we were to lose that game, that's 4 seasons in a row in League One, and we still haven't got promoted, and it's another one. And as well with us being the favourites is kind of a letdown. But I think with Wickham, I mean, when you sort of consider the size of club they are, and I know we have these types of conversations all the time, but I still think it's worth having. The sort of the size of club that Wickham are, etc. I feel like for them to get to the playoff final and get beat, as much as that sounds sort of a little bit strange to say, that's still a fairly decent season for them. So in League One, they're still sort of probably batting slightly out of their league to do that. So I just feel as if we had everything to lose, and for them it was sort of, even if they got beat, they still had a decent season on the whole. Hello, Colin. It is nice to see you.
Well, Colin was missed while I was away. Go and see your mum down there. It's one of them. People see it different. I don't know if it's because of all the heartache we've had. And when we started that first 15 minutes where we came out and was absolutely brilliant. I remember saying to you, Jack, I said, if you remember the Portsmouth game, if you was there, first half was outstanding. And we should have been more than 1-0 up. And then the whole of the second half was terrible, whole of extra time until we got that equaliser. And I thought, so second half when Wickham came out like they did, I was just a little bit, I couldn't help thinking, oh, this is not going to go our way again. Just very quickly, what about a star man, a man of the match? I mean, they were all great, weren't they, really? I mean, but if you had to pick one out, Terry?
Do you know what? I'm not going to pick one out because I need to watch the match back again. I was that nervous. I kind of just like the whole thing just sort of it's a big blur. The whole thing's a big blur. Apart from the 2 goals, I just feel like it went over. Even though it dragged over so much, it's just going over so fast at the same time. It's mad. So I have to watch it back again. It's going to be unfair to give someone man of the match. So I'll give the whole team the credit. All done brilliantly. And Alex Neil.
I mean, I think for me, people on the chat now are chucking Patterson in. Patterson was good. Again, I don't necessarily think there was anyone head and shoulders above anybody. I thought Roberts had a good game. But I think you're right, Terry. I think, watching it back, we were saying on the train, I don't think it's even sunk in yet. I'm off work tonight and we're having a glass and we're just going to sit back. I'm going to watch the game and let it all sink in. I think the emotion of the whole weekend and it happening is just, you're pinching yourself. I was saying to Jack, this is not just a win at Wembley. You're forgetting now we're actually promoted to the championship as well, Jack, could you pick out a man of the match?
Tempted to say all of them, just to be really nice. I thought there were a lot of players who played really well, and I may have been a bit harsh here, but for me, I think if I was to really sort of think of someone in particular, I would say Pritchard. The first half in particular, when we had that sort of good spell before the first goal, it just showed me that the quality he had. If we were going to beat Wickham, it's because we were going to get the ball on the floor and pass it. If you're banging crosses into the box, looking for aerial duels, you're never going to beat Wickham. And we needed players like Pritchard and Embleton who are good with the feet, good with the ball to the floor, to beat them. And just some of his passing and movement was excellent. Do you know what I said in the first half? All game, there was even sort of times in the second half when you could see he was tiring. He was picking the ball up, especially towards the left-hand side. Bits of link-up play, bits of passing and moving. I just thought he was absolutely brilliant. And we were kicking him a bit, but that's probably the biggest compliment that we give him, really, because he was just, you could tell he was just a cut above.
Right. People on the chat again, chucking Patterson in there. Patterson has improved so much. He's come on. You never had him as number one, like the start of the season. And he just looks solid, all game. Terry?
I want to say, at the start of the season, when he played those 2 matches and we brought in the Hoffman, I was the one who wanted to keep Patterson in goal and not play Hoffman at all.
Yeah, to be fair, he started brilliant, and it was a little bit unfair that he got dropped because he'd done nothing. I don't think he conceded a goal. It was that start we had where we was doing great. But there's a lot of shouts. I'll bring in just now, Dino. There's a lot of shouts out there for him. TSGO has watched the game 5 times already. We've got almost 400 people on the stream. So if you can just hit the thumbs up, we'll try and get to 200. That'll help us take a second to do that. And please don't forget, if you are watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It's free to do that. There's a little bell beside it. And if you click on that, then that'll notify you of any new things we put on the channel, so you won't miss any. Before I do come to you, Dino, I want to give also a shout out to Marianne and Carl Taylor, our friends in Boston, Massachusetts, who's donated $5. Can we have a round of applause for them? Says, hi guys, all the lads did fantastic, and the sport was amazing. Patterson was clean and calm. So thanks to you for that. Dino, you was wanting in, mate.
Yeah, so the 2 things I was going to say, obviously with the Patterson, I know Terry was streaming from the bay, and I do believe that the Patterson thing fell onto Patterson because obviously Hoffman got injured or he went back to Germany, and obviously Burge had his whole heart trouble thing. So I think we didn't have another option. Wasn't there a game where we played that David Carney in goal for one of the games instead of Patterson? So I think it just fell on. I think it just fell onto Patterson's. It's like he had to go in goal and he played quite well, and then it was just so hard for Hoffman to get back in. So I think it did. I do think if Hoffman didn't go back to Germany and Berger, I don't think Patterson would have even got a look in. So with injuries, probably benefited Patterson. And on the man of the match, there was only one man for me. Every time he got the ball, he was looking to take players on. He was making a look fit, make things happen, and he was just above everybody else. And that was Roberts. I think Roberts was just so. He reminds us of a Sessegnon. When we're on the Prem, he just skipped past the player. It was so hard to get the ball off him, and I thought there was a couple of times where he got hacked down. Some people say he go down a bit early, a bit easy, but I'm sure there was one where he could have had a penalty where he got sandwiched between two players in the box and didn't get given. But yeah, for me, Roberts, sign him at all costs because I'm sure we only got him on a loan. He's on a free now. I think we need to sign him at all costs. I think he's just a class above, and I think you should try and get a team around him, Pritchard, and whoever else is going to be on the other side. But for me, Roberts all day long.
Yeah, Roberts was good. Pritchard, like I say, it's difficult to pick one out. Back to the chat just very quickly. Matt Wiper says Patterson was fantastic. Caught everything coming his way, which he did. Made a huge save when the centre backs made a mistake. He was solid, and he, like I say, he has come on a lot. Getting on to
Terry wanted in, by the way, you know.
Was that, sorry?
Terry wanted in.
Sorry, Terry, go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that when Carney was playing, when he started, it was one of those Papa John Trophies matches. It wasn't in the Premier League. Sorry, the League One. He hasn't started a match in League One. Carney
he was on
the.
And he was. I think the only time he's ever made the bench was, funnily enough, the last time we played Wickham, which was the first game in January. I think it was the 4th of January earlier this year. And we had a mixture of COVID problems and injuries. I think Burge had his heart problem. There was something up with Hoffman as well. And I remember we recalled Patterson from his loan. He hadn't long been out. Recalled him back from it was at Grimm's Notts County he was at. And then Carney was on the bench. But Jacob Carney, I don't know who David is, Tino.
Well, I know he was called Carney, however, I don't know them personally, you know what I mean? I know the second names. I mean, at the end of the day, Carney's an under-23 team player. I don't really know the under-23 team very well, so my mistake. Mistake, whatever.
Jacob V. Carney, is that what it is? Right, forget that. Right, listen. Again, on the chat, obviously, we'll try and include you. We will get onto this. Jono84 says, I just think we're going to spend money in the summer. We'll get on that. If we're going to run over, we'll try and get as much as we can in. Alex, I think you've got to give the man credit. I wasn't convinced when he came in. And he's the reason, I think, that the main reason we've done what we've done. He's on. Who's
this? Who are you talking about here, Philly? Who's this?
Alex Neil.
Oh, Alex Neil.
And I think he's on a rolling contract. Is it 12-month rolling or 18-month rolling?
18 months, what is it?
18.
12.
Do we not now rip that up? I mean, there's been 3 managers before, I think, have tried to do this, and none have succeeded. He's got a pedigree. He did it with Norwich to the Premiership, so it's not he's managed up there. Do we rip his contract up now and say, right, what do you want, and do that? Dino, you shouldn't yet.
No, because it could go tits up very, very quickly. Let's be fair. Alex Neil, was his last job Norwich, or am I getting that wrong? He got sacked from Norwich. I don't know when he went after that.
He was at Preston for 4 years.
He was at Preston. So for me, you ride out his contract, because let's be fair, if Alex Neil was to leave with another club, it would have to be someone really, really big, because obviously Sunderland are probably one of the biggest clubs he's probably managed, guessing. So, I mean, he's got a good project here, depending on what money he's going to get for next season and what's going to be available to him and what decisions he can make. But I just think if he sticks it out and he says, I mean, because next season, I mean, for me, you've got to just not get relegated. You'll undo everything from this season if you get relegated for next season, the Championship. So you've got to survive that and then kick on from there, because people will probably say we'll go back-to-back promotions. It could happen. I'm not saying it won't, but it's very highly unlikely, especially with the money, the power of the teams who come down when they get this 100 million parachute payment and all that. So you've got to build it. Just don't go down and then go from there. But if you just rip it up and then give him a 3-year deal and say it doesn't go well, you've got to sack him and pay him for the rest of the money. So for me, try and be the smart idea financially. Let him roll into the 18-month, and then if he's doing well, sign him a new one. Blah blah blah. That's my.
Is it not transferred to 12-month rolling contract?
Well,
it was 18, I'm sure. It was 18.
But was it not just 18 because he took it halfway through? So that would give him a year, and then it's a 12-month rolling after that. It's a fair comment what you're saying there, Dino. I don't know, but you like to reward success. I'll come to you just now, Jack. Lazy Lobbers Magnet Fishing says best gaffer since Peter Reid. Go on, we'll go to you then, Jack. This contract up or what?
Just sort of similar to what Dino was saying, really. There were a lot of people getting excited, going, "Oh, we're back in the playoff final next season. We're going to go to the Premier League." Like, don't get us wrong, anything can happen. You know what I mean? Genuinely. But personally, for me, the first 2 seasons in the Championship were still, because often you can do you stay up in your first season because you got that bit of a buzz. But look what happened to Sheffield United when they went into the Premier League after being in the Championship for so long. Second season, crash, burn, terrible, relegated. For me, the first 2 seasons, as long as we stay up, I'm okay with that. Third season, that's when you start pushing on. Obviously, you want to do as well as you can, but I just don't want sort of fans to get into this mindset of, right, now we need to get promoted again. It's just sort of, we've done it now. We've got promoted out of League One. We're in the Championship, and I think we can sort of stabilise a little bit more now because we're going to have a little bit more money here, and we're going to be a lot more attractive for players to come to. It's not as degrading when you have to go play teams like Gillingham and Shrewsbury and all that lot. So I think for me, 2 seasons, avoid relegation. I'll be pleased with that personally.
Right. Just very quickly, I want to give a shout out to Nat, who's on our chat. Nat, of course, is the Sheffield Wednesday fan who's been coming onto our channel for a few weeks now. He says, congratulations, lads. So thanks, Nat. Sheffield Wednesday, big club. Hope you do well this next season. And, we did say whoever won between us would be the team that would probably deserve to go up, a couple of big clubs. I'll get onto a sort of a follow-on to that anyway. Terry, would you be happy to keep Alex Neil's contract as it is, or do you think he should be rewarded?
No, I believe in rewarding people for doing a good job, and I think a 2-year contract wouldn't go amiss at all. We need stability now. We've had years of turmoil up and down, messing about with managers, that and the other. We found someone, it's worked so far. He's got previous with Norwich, got them in the Premier League on a small budget. He's done the same. Preston didn't really have a lot of money to spend. He started off with Hamilton, got those promoted as player manager, done the same with Norwich. He seems a very intelligent man. He says it the way it is. There's no point polishing a turd. You get what you say with Alex Neil. If it's rubbish, he'll say it's rubbish. If it's good, he'll say it's rubbish. Say it's good. He'll tell you what the problems are. So he knows exactly what he's doing. Simple as that. Every single decision he's made so far this season has sort of gone in his favour. So you cannot sort of knock the bloke. And if you cannot reward somebody for doing a fantastic job like that, 18-month rolling contract, will it be about a year rolling contract? Give him a 2-year contract. Reward him. Exactly the same as you should be rewarding players like Patterson as well for coming in, stepping up to the plate. Young lad, improving. You've got to give him a 2-year contract. Going on to the owner situation, so long as them 2 owners, Donald and Metfin, they sell their shares to someone like Sartori and KLD, then they'll put money into the club. Someone like Alex Neil with money behind them, I think we'll do a great job. We'll be like sort of middle of the table next season, so why not?
Well, I'll get onto that. Well, I'll get onto it more or less now. We're saying, somebody said, do you think we're going to spend money? Will we spend money next time? And then other people on the chat there, Joe the artist, all depends if we spend it wisely. Maximilian von Finchelstein says, hope Donald and Metvan don't put their asking price up. They're going to, of course they are. The club is worth more now in the Championship. So the price will go up because the club's worth more money. So they've still got the same amount of shares, but those shares are now more valuable. So that's what they'll do. The good thing is it might be now a heftier chunk of money that another investor is then willing to pay because we're a better prospect now, and 2, it's enough money for them to go, you know what, that's a good little earner for them. So I'll go on you first then, Jack. Oh, go on, Dino.
No, go for it. You ask the question. Go for it.
Jack, do you think money and enough money will be spent next season?
It's got to be, hasn't it? Because it's taken us 4 years to get out of League One, and I think what the club need to be conscious of is that if we do go down again, we've then got to come back up again. And I think we've got a lot of work that needs to be done. There's maybe 6 or 7 players, I think, that are worthy of this squad, have taken to the Championship who you can rely on. There may be a few more who could be okay squad players, but I think there's a lot of players who I'm really thankful for their efforts. But with all due respect, I don't think the Championship quality, I don't think they'll cut it. And I feel like we sort of need to look at players who are Championship quality. I would also, however, point out that, you know, that doesn't mean you have to go and sort of spend 5-10 million on players. There's plenty of players out of contract. I mean, it's caused a lot of debate recently. I know a lot of people don't like this idea, but George Honeyman's out of contract. I feel like he will be a great addition to slot back in. He's came on loads since he was with us last time. He's been captain of a championship club in Hull. Did he win League One? I think he did with Hull. At the very least, I know they got automatic promotion. So for me, I think we've got to be sort of recruiting high quality players for me, in my opinion. But you don't have to break the bank.
Jack, can I jump in quickly? Was George Honeyman still getting regular football? Was he still playing regular, do you know?
I'm not 100% sure on sort of how he's been doing this season. I mean, for all I know, he might have been benched. But I know that for a while he was still Hull's captain in the Championship and doing quite well, I think.
Right, okay. Dino, will we spend enough money, do you think?
It's not about spending enough money. It's about getting the right players. You can chuck loads of money at certain players, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. You've got to look to see if they're going to fit the team, if they've got the right attitudes, how they've been at other clubs. Because actually, not how they've been at other clubs, because there was a lot, when we signed Ross Stewart, there was a lot of people saying, oh, he's done nothing in Scotland, he's rubbish, he only scored 5 goals, and he's Sunderland's top goal scorer with 20-odd goals this season. So I don't believe in looking at the form for the other club, because you could come into another team and the system's totally different and you could be a standout. It's been shown throughout the years that certain players are world class at one club and then they go to another club and they just look like another average player. So you've got to do your research on the players we're going to sign. I do think we need to let some players go. I mean, there's a few players there. I mean, someone says, was that Gucci's farewell? I mean, don't get us wrong. He's picked up a lot in recent, but I think it might be time for to say goodbye to Gucci and get someone better in. There's other players in there, maybe Luke O'Nien, it might be time for his. I know he bleeds Sunderland, he's a lovely bloke and he bleeds Sunderland through and through. Is he going to be good enough? There's a lot of people saying no. I'm starting to think probably not. But there's a lot of people who probably need to be shipped out and there's a lot of people that come in. So we just need to get it. If we get it right, we'll be fine. If we get it wrong, it's going to be a long, dusty season next season.
Just very quickly, Conrad Tank on the chat says, not Honeyman. We can do better than that. On the Gooch thing you were saying there, he has, like I says, come on, but I think he struggles in League One. He's not consistent.
I mean, that was just one player, the first player that came to mind, because I know a lot of people have been discussing him. What I was meaning is we don't have to sort of go and necessarily spend money on players. Luton's squad they only paid 1.5 million for the squad, and they finished in the playoffs. Shrewd business, I think, is better than just sort of splashing the cash.
All right. Just very quickly, I want to go back to the chat, but also if it's 200 likes, thanks to you for that. If you want to tell you what you're drinking, good lad, celebrating. Great beer. Over 200 likes, you can still hit the thumbs up, by the way. If you're over the moon that we're going up and winning at Wembley, then show your appreciation. Just hit that hit that thumbs up for us and let's get those numbers up on that. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because it is free to subscribe. I've got to give a shout out, and I've lost it here. I hope I don't. To where is it? Oh, sorry, mate. We did the fan cams after the game, which if you haven't seen them yet, they're on our. Oh, there he is, Kenneth Allen. And we did one. I was interviewing somebody, and somebody snatched me at and did the Benny Hill slap on the head with us, and that was Kenneth Allen. Nice to meet you, Kenneth. There you go. That's fine. Also back on there, I see Matthew Leeds kicking in there somewhere. I've just whizzed past him. We need to move on from the past and build on what we have. Bringing back players that were incredibly unsuccessful will not be a good idea in his opinion. Terry, do you think we'll spend enough money?
Right, it all depends on who owns the club, simple as. I mean, at this moment in time, we've got Donald and Medfin, who can't afford to spend any money, to be honest, let's face it, to buy any players in. So you've got an owner like KLD, who has lots of cash, his mother has lots of cash, Sartori's got lots of cash. So why at this moment in time would they spend millions on players just so that Donald and Medfin put nothing into the coffers and then they reap the rewards in the future? So first of all, first order of play is to sort out the ownership situation. Now, is there anything already been agreed in the past when KLD first came in? Was there something else agreed, saying possibly if you get promoted, you can have these shares at this price? This all could have been sorted out in the future already. We don't know. But the only way this club's going to move forward and be able to staying in the Championship and get into the Premier League is by getting rid of owners like Donald and Metfin, who have no money to help out at the club. And also we need the likes of Alex Neil. He's no muppet. You know, he's his own man. He'll speak his mind. We need him and Speakman to work together closely. So Speakman doesn't just buy in any old player. He buys in players that Alex Neil actually wants to bring in to improve the side as well, without spending millions and millions. But we've got to spend money to be able to stay in the Championship long term to go towards the Premier League. And that's only going to happen when these two clowns sell up.
Right, okay. I think I know what's coming here, but I'll Dino, I'll bring you.
Can I just say, Dino's been waiting to say this for ages.
Dino, I haven't got
Have your moment, Dino. Go on.
I haven't got a clue what you're going to say, but Dino, over to you.
Yes, I mean, don't get us wrong. I am a Metfin and Stuart Donald out. I really am. But credit's due is credit's due. I mean, there's a lot of people who said, including Terry, who says we will not get promoted under this new regime. We will not get anywhere under this regime. And look at that, we're being promoted. I mean, it just shows the regime isn't as bad as everyone makes out. Yeah, they don't spend the money, but did them not bring in KLD? Yes. Did them not bring in Christian Speakman? Possibly yes. Who made all the transfers? Christian Speakman, the likes of Stewart, Roberts, Pritchard, all these lot. Credit is due where credit is due. Yeah, it's took 4 years, but we're finally out, and you've got to give them credit. You might not want to, but I said I was wrong about Alex Neil. I admit when I'm wrong, but let's be fair, Terry and a lot of us, they've been wrong. Yeah, you might hate them for what they've said, blah, blah, blah.
I don't hate anybody, Dean. I don't hate anybody.
Well, if you don't hate anybody, just like them.
The only way the club can move forward is those two out. I mean, let's face it. The only way KLD's come to the club, the only way KLD's come to the club is because he has ties with Sartori, and Sartori has ties to Metford and Donald. Now, Sartori's probably distanced himself away from those two because I think eventually he will probably stay at the club with KLD. So I will give credit to Sartori for having ties with KLD, bringing in sort of KLD. I'm not going to give credit over the last couple of seasons to like Salmon Pants, who slagged off the fans and this, that, and the other. No way, Jose. For me, the sooner he's gone, the better.
Well, sorry, Dino, before you come in. But to be fair, sorry, I mean, you're saying, you know, this club won't progress as long as they're there. We progressed this weekend, and
only progressed because of Sartori, who brought in KLD.
Hang on. Listen, as much as and fair play to Dino. Dino said, you know, he wants them out, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, they're still. Did we not say halfway through the season, and especially when it came out with the share split, that you know they were still running the club, which they basically are. And I tell you,
we'll give credit to, but we'll never know. We'll give credit to whoever brought in Speaking, whoever brought in KLD, and the people who bring in Alex Neil, because they're the three. KLD and Speakman, they're the ones that are being brought in. Now, whether they were brought in by Sartori, I don't know. I think he's probably got a little bit more to do with the club we actually think. But I'll give credit to whoever brought in Alex Neil as well. Now, we'll never know. We'll never know. We're just guessing. I mean, Dino's on the side of Donald and Salmon Pants, saying that they brought them in, and I'm on the side of sort of Sartori and KLD, thinking that they've done their part. So if anybody comes out and say yes, if Donald came out and say yes, it was my idea to bring KLD in, then I'll say well done. If he says it was my idea to bring Speakman in, then I'll say well done. But until that moment, I'm not going to give any credit at all to the likes of Salmon Pants, because I think he's an absolute waste of space at this club.
But wait there, didn't you say
Dino, I'll come to you now. I just quickly want to read this. Jack Stevens said Metfin turned up in the fan zone yesterday and got escorted out because he was getting threatened, and rightly so. Dino, go on.
I don't know for a fact if Terry's ever said that, but didn't you say Stantori's a waste of space? He's done nothing in the club. He's always over Uruguay doing his presidential. There's been a lot of people. I don't know if you said that.
I said all along the jury's out with Sartori. I don't know much about Sartori. I mean, if he's done bugger all, then fair enough. But if he's had, I just don't know. I don't know, because I think that's the reason why KLD's come in, because of the links of the family between Sartori and KLD. That's the only way. So I've seen and I've heard what Donald's done over the years, what Methin's done, and Sartori's been quiet. So I said the jury's out.
Right. Can I just quickly go to the chat? I want to give a shout out to Borough Fan TV. Great set of lads actually down there. It is a little bit tongue in cheek here. They're saying, "Welcome back, lads. Looking forward to the 6 points." It's just a bit of fun. We will be doing things throughout next season with Borough Fan TV. Like I said, good set of lads. Check out their channel, and thanks for that, fellas. Dino.
Can I just say as well, because I've seen a lot of comments saying, "Oh, Dino, where's your check?" I don't want Donald here. I don't want Methin here. But at the end of the day, these people have laid the foundations for the likes of who brought in KLD. Sartori came in with Methin and Donald, so you've got to credit them for bringing Sartori in. If Sartori got KLD, that's down to Donald and Methin at the end of the day, because they're a three-way partnership. It's a group thing, isn't it? It's not Sartori, Donald and Methin. It's a group thing. What was it called? What's the group called? What they call it?
Madrox.
Madrox. There you go. That's three of them. So you've got to go for a time.
I give credit Donald for the first season, and I will never give credit to Salmon Pants the way he's talked about the fans and everything else to do with the club. It doesn't fit with the club at all. He needs to keep his gob shut, simple as, and just get on being the owner of a club. He's supposed to want to succeed. You don't come on and slag off the fans from like that after the second season. So Donald, yes, first season, but when you get towards the third and you start telling lies in the second, third and fourth season, and that's when you think, right, I lose all trust with this bloke. I don't hate any of them. I just want them out. We will not progress.
All right.
We might get lucky, right? We might get lucky. Alex Neil might have some contacts. We might give Christian Speakman, I might have contacts, might get some absolutely fantastic, unearth some great kids. We might have a great season next season on a budget. But, the odds are against you. We've got to spend a bit of money, really.
Right. Listen, we'll move on from this now. Before we do, you did say, Dino, you want Donald and Methin out. We just want to put this up.
That was first season.
This is down Wembley. This is down Wembley. The weekend. There was that.
Philly. Show Will your emails you sent to Stuart Donald, please. Remember them, a little email. Oh, can we have the flag up?
Listen. Dino.
Sorry. Dino, did you and Donald go to the same hairdressers that weekend?
No.
Listen, Dino, I don't mind putting it out there. That's, Stuart Donald has always been all right with me. The contact we've had, and I do think I've given more leeway than anyone else. I think he's been unlucky along the way. I do think his heart was in the right place at the start and what have you. But so if you're trying to chuck us under the bus there.
No, wait there. You put that picture up for people who've never seen me, never watched this. Them will think I got that tuck yesterday. That's what them will think I got that tuck of him down Wembley yesterday. So add a bit of context. That was first season, checker trade final. This was my first match at Wembley. I seen him walking down. I asked for a photo. And where's Jack?
For everybody, that picture wasn't at the weekend. That was 2 or 3 years ago. Okay.
You can tell it wasn't the weekend. Looks about 5 years older now.
You've got a beard, man. You've got a beard now. So I don't know what happened to Jack, but I do believe he's back now. Just disappearing like that from us. Right. Listen. Let's move on from this very quickly. Don't forget, 170. We're approaching 500 people on the stream already. Keep hitting the thumbs up there. Take you a second to do so. Hit the subscribe button, which is free to subscribe as well. We're still buzzing off Wembley. We've still got loads of bits to cover. But I want to ask you, pass this round. What will represent a successful season for you lot next season in the Championship? Where do you think, if we finish, mid-table, top 10, what for you will be a successful season? Jack?
Avoid relegation. Simple as that. If we
Really?
finish, literally, if we finish 20th in the league, but we stay up, that'll do me. Build from there.
And you'll see that as a success?
If you avoid relegation, yeah. I mean, how many teams come up from League One? You know, especially when they've already just scraped the playoffs to come straight back down again. You know, Philly, I'm not being funny. If I got beat yesterday, I would still be in this league. I'm over the moon, but the hard work starts now.
We didn't.
I know we didn't, man.
Well, fair enough.
Look,
all right, listen. All right.
I mean, look, we could go and have a really great season, finish in the top half. You never know, might get promoted, but for me, the expectation has just got to be avoid relegation, build from there. So
do you think then, sorry, as a quick follow-on to that then, if we just finished one place above the relegation spots, right, do you think Alex Neil will still be here? Because I think if we're losing games to that extent, you know what our fans are like. They'll do you not think they'll turn?
Sorry, Philly, my connection's going again. Like, I'll join you in a minute.
Right, okay. Right, well, we'll go to you, Dino. I mean, Jack's saying, turn that off there. Jack's saying that's, one place above relegation. For him, he'd be happy with that. Yourself?
I'm with Jack. I don't care if we survived on goal difference. You've got to stay up, because what's the point in getting promoted to go straight back down? There's no point. A lot of teams, Wigan come straight back down. There was another team who came straight back down. I can't remember who that was though. Teams struggle in the Championship because there's a big difference between, was it Rotherham? There's a big difference between League One and Championship, and it shows because 2 out of the 3 teams normally come back down. So for me, you've got to just survive and build on it and build on it. It's not like the olden days where we'd go down, come straight back up. Things have changed. Money's changed. We're probably classed now as one of the poorer clubs in maybe the Championship, maybe, because obviously we don't get that parachute money anymore. We've got to self-sustain ourselves. When these teams from the Prem come straight back down, they've got 100 million there straight away, 100 million, and they can get spent. They can sell the players for profit who were in the Premier League that season. So they're building on money. So we're in a bit of a poor position at the minute. But so yeah, for me, if we just stay up, that'll do me. And as Stephen Hensel in the chat is saying, he's great. Get in touch with us, mates. You've got my number, or send us a message on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll sort it out, and I'll come and deliver it to you personally.
All right, there you go. Just very quick, I'll come to you just now, Terry. GS 2000 saying Charlton, different people saying Peterborough, about teams who have gone up and come straight back down. And I mean, for me, I totally disagree. I'll be very disappointed if we just survive. I really will. But I'll go on to you, Terry. What do you think would determine a successful season next year for us?
Well, let's be realistic. Teams that come up and go back down again are teams with no money to spend. They haven't got a very big budget, don't have the cash, they haven't got the finances or the people behind to support the team, support the club into that league. Simple as. It's all about money, isn't it? If we did get rid of the 2, Donald and Medford, and KLD has got millions to spend, and he spends it wisely, we have got the clout and the backing to stay in the table. We should be looking for mid-table for me. Mid-table first season. Secure mid-table first season. Have an owner in, or a couple of owners in, who have the money to spend. And I'm not saying they're splashing money left, right, and centre like we did before. You've got to spend it wisely, but you've got to be able to buy in a better calibre of player to survive into this league and get mid-table. Now, I think if we do have some millions to spend, unlike Peterborough, unlike the likes of, no disrespect, likes of Rotherham and other clubs like Charlton, that they are up and down because they haven't got the financial clout. And the majority of the times, sometimes it's about a bit of money to spend. If we have the money to spend, for me, there's no reason why we shouldn't be mid-table for the first season. That's just my opinion. We've got the manager who can do the business. So all we need now is the owners who can spend the money.
I'll bring you in just now, Dino. I agree. I think mid-table for me, first season, second season with playoffs at a minimum. Then some people are saying up by Easter. I don't know what they're on about by that. Then saying under Alex Neil up by Easter could happen. Up by May, Philly, people saying like that. Dino, you was one then?
Yeah, so as for example, right, Newcastle, the season that went down, them spent, I think it was 100 million or 90 million went down. There's a lot of teams who spend a lot of money and still don't prospect. You've got to make the right signings. You don't have to spend a load of money. Yeah, you need to spend a little bit, but not a load. You need to spend it well. I mean, I'm trying to think of someone else in the Championship who spent. Look at the Championship season we had. We came down with a Premier League squad. We did. They were a Premier League squad. Yeah, the players didn't really care, blah, blah, blah. So when we came down, we were expecting to go straight back up, weren't we? The season before we got down to League One. We were expecting to bounce straight back up. We ended up in League One, but we had probably one of the better squads in the league. It just shows, just because you have the better players on paper doesn't mean you're going to get where you want to be. And are you telling me, Philly, that this squad now is there for a top half finish? Is that what you're telling us now? This squad.
No, absolutely.
Do you know how many players we would have to bring in and just get in to make that happen? A lot.
No, I'll tell you what we need. For me, we need 7 or 8 good Championship players, and I think we keep the younger members, right? And these experienced players will bring these on. The younger members will become part of the squad. Right, I think, some people have said, 3 or 4 because this one's all right. Absolutely not. I think to even look at staying up, I think we've got to have a good number.
And does anybody out there believe under the current regime that we're going to get 7 or 8 quality players in at this club with, like, say, Donald and Medford still owning over 30%, over 60% of the shares? Where's the money going to come from, Dean? Where's the money going to come from?
A billionaire owner.
Yeah, but is he going to spend the money for other people to reap the rewards?
Well, you don't know. You don't know. You can't just see he's not going to. He might. You don't know that.
I'm not saying he'll go to it. It's my opinion. In my opinion, it won't.
Yeah, but he may. The thing is, sorry, I get what you're saying. You're saying, why should he put all that money in for Donald and Medford to then go, But, as a billionaire, he might say, well, I can make lots of money off this. And he might have come in there and thought, fair enough, if they're going to make money. They make money, he's going to make money. He's going to, it's you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
His first order of play is to own the club outright, in my eyes.
Okay. Dino?
Well, that might not happen, though, so you can't really bank your hopes on it. But for me, bringing in what quality players have we not brought in this season? We brought in Stuart, and our Stuart was the last season, technically. But you brought in the likes of Pritchard, Roberts, Danny Bart. Even though he got off to a slow start, he actually looks really, really good, right? I mean, Bailey Wright came out with looks really good. He is a Championship-level player because we did buy him from the Championship. Corey Evans is technically a Championship player, and I thought he had a great game yesterday as well. So you've got a core of players who are there ready for the Championship. You just need to add 1 or 2 to them, 4 or 5, whatever. So don't say we won't add any. We've already added quality to our team this year because some of these players are actually already Championship ready. You like your Pritchards, your Roberts, if you do keep them. I think Stuart would do a really good job in the Championship. So don't just say
the players. Yeah, no, we will add the players, but the difference between adding players between you and you, Jack, saying we just want to scrape away from relegation to mid-table is a different chunk of quality.
No, I'm not saying we're going to scrape it. I say I'll be happy with it. If we survive, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to say sack them. I'm happy with that. If
we need a sort of push for better than that for me.
Right.
I hope, don't get me wrong, I hope KLD spends the money. I just have this nagging doubt, if these two stay here, it won't be as successful as it would be if these two weren't here.
Right, okay. Just a quick, I've got my wife nagging at me, and so we are running over with this. I want to chuck another topic your way, and then I don't know if the 3 of you want to stay on, and Jack, you can run it.
I would.
It's up to
you. I would. If Jack can run the questions, then yeah.
As long as we have to back in, like.
Would you want to, Jack, or not?
I was just going to ask Philly, what was the question you were asking us, because you were just sort of breaking up every 2 seconds beforehand when you were asking exactly one off.
I can't remember. It was probably a rubbish question anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
just let me chuck this one in very quickly. Yesterday, down at Wembley, the Wycombe fans. When we, there was nobody about, no Wycombe fans on the Friday. Saturday, they started coming in. And early on when Wembley Way, I was with Karen. And there was a number of them, quite a few of them, I thought being a little bit disrespectful, flicking the V's and singing Sunderland Get Battered.
They were flicking Jacobs.
So,
was this before the game or after the game, Philly?
This is before the game. And so, and singing Sunderland Get Battered. And I'm thinking, oh, wait, man, you know what? We're not singing Wickham Get Battered, and all this. And I thought it's a bit disrespectful. You come in here, you can't sell all your tickets, and you're like trying to play Billy Big Balls. And I thought,
Phil.
Yes.
There'll be our fans doing exactly the same thing. You have idiots in every fan base. We're probably doing that to us.
Listen, let me get on to the main point though. So I thought, fair enough, all right. And then later on, while Terry was with us, we was then making our way. Saturday night, we decided to. We've been drinking around Wembley, and we made our way to Trafalgar Square. And we got to Wembley Park tube station, and there was a group of about 12 Wickham fans, young lads, basically picking off Sunderland fans, and there was a bit of trouble, a bit of fighting and stuff like that. We've got footage of it actually, haven't we, Terry? And bits, and it was just a bit unsavoury. And did you see any? I know, well, you witnessed that, Terry. You was with us. Did you see anything else, or were the majority of them all right?
Well, I say I've got the footage of it. I'll be putting that on YouTube some point tonight. But I don't know exactly. We only got there. We don't know exactly what went on. We don't know who started it. We don't know what happened. We just saw a group of maybe 10 to 12 lads, and they were basically, it was all like handbags at dawn, to be honest. There was no sort of physical contact as much as I could see.
Well, there was. I've got footage where they're actually fighting. I mean, there's...
they're fighting. I couldn't see it, but I seen a few cones being thrown. And to be fair, I walked towards the lads, and when I got to the lads, they peeled off one by one, and they were coming to me and saying, all right, mate, well done, Sunderland, well done, Sunderland. Nothing to do with you, you're fine. And I don't know what went on with the other fans. I don't know whether Sunderland fans and Wickham fans were getting at each other's throats, but I talked to 3 or 4 of these young lads, and not one of them had anything nasty to say to me. So I don't know what actually went on. So I'm not really going to... And before the match at Wembley, I never saw any Wickham fans doing anything disrespectful either. I mean, I interviewed a few fans, and they're all great with me. I mean, I might be just oblivious to what goes on half the time in my own world.
We've got footage to put vlog together, and I've got footage of them actually fighting and stuff like that. So, I mean, we will stick it in ours as well. But, they were coming up the stairs, and it was people with families, kids and stuff like that, and they were kicking off. And, I
wonder why they didn't go for me then.
But when we went through, me and Karen then went through, when we went through them, and a couple was saying to me, he says, oh, they're dickheads and stuff like that. And they were all right with us. You know what I mean? But so it was one of you wanting in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think, to be honest, in every fan base, you get some nice people, and you get the opposite. I mean, I thought there were a lot of cocky Wickham fans, especially before the game. They were only just sort of turning up, sort of 10 o'clock, and straight away they were sort of looking for Sunderland fans, and I think trying to get in their faces. But then equally, there was plenty who were minding their own business. And after the game, sort of in and around London, there was plenty of Wickham fans that would say that we were Sunderland fans, and sort of came over for a chat and sort of wished us all the best and whatever, and just had a nice chat, sort of as football fans, really. It's the same with Sunderland fans, though. I mean, I've seen quite a few experiences just this season of Sunderland fans, just with disgusting behaviour, really. Sort of targeting, sort of families and innocent people, and it happens. People sort of, they're on the big days out, and all of a sudden they think they're invincible and think they can go and bully people. So I think it just happens in every fan base, doesn't it? Really.
Jack, just let me in there. I'm going to have to go. My wife's just walked past the back of us and gone like that, which once you lads get married, Jack and Dino,
we aren't getting married.
You'll know.
Congratulations, Jack and Dino.
Yeah. There'll be
10 minutes. I'm just going to go and be sick.
Yeah, there'll be signals you'll need to know how to read.
There's someone behind me going hurt all the time, but there's no one there, so I'm definitely just haunted this house.
Yeah.
Don't start with that again.
So listen, I'm going to get off. Listen, thanks to everybody who's tuned in over the season. We are going to do, I think we're going to do one more after this. Going to do sort of an end of season thing. Dino, was you wondering quickly before I went? Or
I was going to say, Philly, but before you go, take off that overlay so it doesn't, because Jack might not know how to take it off.
Don't worry, we'll start. Jack,
I've got them.
Jack can do all that. Don't worry.
And well, what I was going to say as well, like, at the end of the day, we all know every bunch of fans have got them hooligan types who just look for the trouble. I mean, I was there all day. I was actually speaking to a couple of the Wickham fans, and most of them are all right. I mean, one of them actually got on one of our tube stations, was just one Wickham fan, and he was talking to her, and he was he let an old man sit in one of the chairs where he was sitting.
Dino,
let
me interrupt. The thing is, Dino, what you don't understand, because you're single. Right, when you get if your lass walks past the back here and she goes, like that, that's serious stuff. That like, so you then continuing this, keeping me longer means I might have an hour where she won't speak to me now.
Just go, go.
No, just go. We all know who wears the pants in your relationship, Phil.
She wears the pants, not me.
Exactly.
Salmon pants.
I've got my shorts on. See, not the long
pants. Nobody wants to see your legs. Bye bye. Isn't that much better?
That's much better, isn't it?
Going
back to the fans, right? The only one disrespectful fan I saw was this morning. I was walking up, there was loads of Wrexham fans, Bromley fans, and there was a game before that I think was on as well. So some new little something was on, another game. And there was these three lads walking down as we were walking up towards the steps up by Wembley, and Wincy was on his phone. And as they walked past, one of them shouted, "Dirty, rotten scumbag Mackhams," or something, or "filthy scumbag Mackhams." I turned around and went, "You what?" And they kept on walking down. They were going up Newcastle. And I started shouting, "What's your problem?" And I was like, "Can you bag a tutor and all that?" And they just buggered off. But they didn't wear any kind of kit. I have no idea who they were. Just lads in the 30s messing about or in the 20s messing about. And please, Wincy never heard them because they might have been a little bit more sort of. But anyway, I just pushed them to one side.
Wincy would have went,
I think he would have went mental, like. But luckily, I just helped me get the buggered off anyway, so it was all right.
Terry, I know why them other fans came over and says, "Oh, you're all right, mate, because you're the main man. You know, you're the SAFC Fan TV DC, and you're the main man."
They don't know who I am. They have no idea who I am. Just some gadget walking along with a camera.
And most importantly, you managed to find Trafalgar Square on time.
I know. Well, yeah, I'm the only person that can use the tubes, to be honest, so I found it okay. I've got an app on my phone that tells you where to get which tube to which place. It was spot on, absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I use maps myself, man. I've been to London a few times.
I had James. James is my tour guide. He goes to London all the time, so he's my tour guide. So
give him his full title.
No one cares. How Jack, let's continue the Sunderland topic before people start leaving now. Next question. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think just sort of one thing I was going to get onto, and to be fair, this might have been touched on briefly when my laptop was restarting when I had to leave. I feel as if that was maybe a few players' sort of last game without really knowing it. There's a fair few lads who've been with us for a few years now, some of which, plenty of years. And I think they've been good servants to the club. They've worked really, really hard. And I think on an emotional level, it'd be really hard to see them go. But sort of if you want to move forward, sometimes you've got to make these tough decisions. I think Gooch and 09 are the two for me, where one of them might stay. I think 09's really more likely to stay than Gooch. I just sort of want to pass that around, really sort of what do we think? Dino, do you think that was potentially their last two games?
For 09, I'm going to say no, because I'm sure he signed a 2-year deal, so he gets at least another year. Maybe if he got promotion, he might get extended. Obviously, that's not confirmed. But for me, Gooch, possibly yes. I think he's been here since he was a little kid. He's seen we go from Prem to Championship to League One. He barely cuts it at League One level, and I think if you want to stay up, you've got to have someone better than Gooch, unfortunately. I mean, Gooch is quick. He's a hard worker, but when you get into these other leagues, hard work just isn't enough anymore. In League One, you can get away with it because the quality's not as good. But when you get the Championship and the Prem, hard work, you need more than that. You need better quality crossing and passing and movement, and unfortunately, I just don't think Gooch has it. Gooch had a bright start as a Sunderland player when he first turned up against Man City, and I thought he was man of the match, his first ever game. And then from then, he just doesn't seem to have developed much as a player. Maybe that's down to injury. But, if that was his last game, what a way to go out to get your team you've been with since you were 11 to the Championship. And I wish him well because he's clearly got a good attitude. And I hope he does get better as a player. But I think his time with Sunderland has come to an end for me.
Yeah, Emma Hansen on the chat was just sort of said what I was about to say, really saying there, the way Gooch was at full time, I think he knows he's gone. You could see sort of how much it meant to him, and I feel like he was sort of saying goodbye because I feel like he knew that, no matter which way the result went, that might have been his last game. Don't get us wrong, I think, as a footballer, we love him a bit. I know he was sort of spent his first 10 years in America, but apart from that, he has grown up in Sunderland, and you can see that cut him out when he bleeds red and white. He works incredibly hard. The amount of positions he plays as well. He does anything that's asked of him. He started off as a sort of a very attacking sort of number 10 winger when he came through, and he sort of played some of his best football this season as a fullback and a wing back. And I just think he's a real sort of credit to the club. But moving forward in the Championship, I still think he's sort of got to prove himself. I feel like he's not too far off sort of establishing himself as a really good League One player, but I just sort of feel as if he's he's too inconsistent for me, and I think he needs to sort of make his decisions a little bit quicker and sort of make his decisions a little bit better as well, I think, before he can sort of warrant to be in that top bracket of League One players. 09, I think, I don't know, I feel as if his extra versatility might just sort of give him a little bit of an extra nudge, and we might get him as a squad player in the Championship for a year. Terry, yourself, those two lads, and anyone else as well, to be fair, there's probably some other names. Was it maybe a nice sort of last dance, so to speak, for a few of them?
Do you know what it is? You're probably not going to like what I'm going to say, but I think it's too soon. I think it's the day after they're just getting Sunderland promoted to the Championship. I think it's a bit disrespectful to start talking about players leaving so early. So yeah. I'm going to give it a few more weeks, let the dust settle first, let them sort of, have the moment in the sun, enjoy it. But age-wise, Gooch, 26, he could probably still improve again a little bit under the right guidance, under the right manager. Alex Neil's got the best out of Gooch. He might be able to improve again at that level, at that age. There's no reason why not. 26 is only a young age still. Out of the two, 09, 27, probably's got more improvement in him. But we'll have this conversation in a few weeks' time after the dust settles a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair enough, Terry. Dino, you want in?
I don't think it's ever too early, because you start a plan the day you get promoted. You've got to start planning these things, because you don't want to be like us when it's last day in the transfer market and you're running around looking for strikers and who are you going to let go. You've got to make these decisions quick. My opinion, like you say, at the end of the day. But yeah, I think as soon as you get promoted, you've got to think for next season, because it's not just you get there and you make the decisions then. You've got to make the hard decisions now. Who are you keeping? Who are you going to let go? Who's good enough? Who do you think's not going to be good enough? Who are you going to promote from the academy? Who are you going to loan out? Who are you going to loan? You've got to look at these targets now. You've got to have a list of targets who we're going to bring in, because we all know transfers just don't happen like that. It takes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months to get a transfer over the line. So you've got to plan for next season now.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Dino, but I think, in my opinion, I'd give them at least Sunday and Monday to recover and enjoy themselves and celebrate before we start discussing about kicking them out.
I think, for me, it would be nice to sort of give the lads a few days, those who wanted it, just to sort of, think about anything but football. You know what I mean? They've worked so hard for, sort of the best part of a year. It's nice to then just sort of kick back and relax and sort of. And I know what you're saying, Terry, in terms of sat here sort of discussing when it is their lives. Do you know what I mean? I get that. And it's their financial situation as well. Go on, Terry.
I have no idea what the owners do, but in my opinion, just me as a personal person, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I just sort of want to put it out there as well. I mean, has anyone else got any other topics? That was the only thing I sort of had in mind that Phil hadn't really went through.
What was your thoughts on why do you think he started Embleton over Clark? Anybody?
See, I feel as if Alex Neil, literally treats it sort of game by game. I think he'll have looked at Wickham and thought Embleton was the perfect sort of player. I feel like going into the game against Wickham, that we're probably going to have lots of possession, especially sat on the edge of our own box. and that we're going to need that one or two moments of quality, sort of about 20, 25 yards from a goal, whether it's a cross perfectly onto someone's head, like he's done with Broadhead early in the season against Gillingham and a few other times, or whether it's, striking it like he did only yesterday and like he did sort of, I think, was it against Shrewsbury? I think he volleyed it. Personally, I made complete sense when I saw Embleton was in there above Clark, because I just felt as if it was more his game. Dino?
I mean, don't get us wrong. I think Clark had a really good game against Sheffield Wednesday, didn't he, when he set up the last goal? Clark is a very good dribbler, and I think when he has started this season, I just don't think he's had the same impact. When he comes off the bench, people are leggy, and he can get past the play. He's got pace. He should have technically really scored yesterday when he rounded a couple of players and he got one-on-one and he just couldn't get it past the keeper. It was, don't get us wrong, it's a great move. The lad you swap out scores the goal to give the 1-0 lead, so it looks brilliant from Alex Neil. Obviously, he's had a full week to think about what he's going to do, preparation, so he clearly knows what he's doing. So for me, I think it was a shrewd move. I think when Clark came on, he had the beating of the defender all day long. It's really, really good to see that Alex Neil isn't just, I'm not going to change the winning team. He thinks about it, what he's going to do, and it's great to see, and I'm just so glad it worked, because if it didn't work, imagine what the fans would have said. Why didn't he start Clark? You've always got the opposite effect. So for me, he got it totally right, but again, it could have went totally wrong. I'm just glad it did work. I do.
Here's one, lads. Lot of debate about this player in recent weeks. Nathan Broadhead. I think a lot of us would probably say on his day could be a Premier League footballer, but when you're only sort of fit for half the season, is it then worth sort of putting some of your wage bracket towards someone like that when you could get someone for the same wages who maybe isn't quite as good, but will contribute more over the space of a season because he's going to be fully fit? Go on, Dino, what's your thoughts? I can see you.
Yeah, you know what? I was actually going to bring the whole Broadhead up, because I do like Broadhead. He's got something about him. I don't know what it is. He's really good on the ball. He's got he's sharp, he's quick off the mark. But again, you need players who are going to be fit for a season. And he does seem to be a little bit injury prone, which is unfortunate. I can hear myself in the background. I don't know what it is. I don't know if one of you two got it's different. But I just think it might be time to say goodbye to Broadhead. I mean, it's a good way to bow out. You played at Wembley. You might have got 5 minutes, but I think if you want to have a backup striker, you need someone who's going to be there fit, and unfortunately he hasn't been there fit for most of the season. So I hope he has a great career, I really do, but I think it is time to say goodbye to Broadhead and get somebody else as a backup.
In my opinion, it's all about what sort of his demands are. I think if he's happy to accept either a relatively sort of lower paid contract than maybe his sort of quality would suggest, maybe just for a year or so to see how he goes next season, or alternatively, and I know this thing doesn't really happen in modern day football much anymore, but a pays-you-play contract sort of style, a base salary, and then maybe a bonus for every game that he plays, and then that way sort of we still get the advantage of having him. But if he does pick up a few injuries like he has this season, he's only sort of fit for 50%. We're not blowing part of our wage budget on someone who can't even play. Andy Carroll went to Reading this season and did really, really well. And I think he was only on £1,000 a week. And I think it's because he knew that no one else sort of really wanted to take him on. He had to go there. But it worked out really well for Reading because they got him and he did quite well for them. Terry, your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a really good play if he stayed fit. And I think, I was being called up for Wales. And you want to sort of have a sit down with him and say, look, where do you want to see yourself? I mean, do you want to stay at Sunderland? If he wants to stay at Sunderland and can prove his fitness, you could give him some sort of very sort of small contract. I don't know, maybe it's 3 months at a time or something. Just to prove your fitness, prove you can stay fit. Yes, prove you can stay fit. Then we reward you if you can stay fit. So he's a young lad. You tend to have those injuries all the time, but he might be a one-off. He might get over the injury. He might have a successful season next season. And I just feel if fits both sort of players, fits our club and fits the player itself, and it's going to be pay as you play, then fair enough. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's worth taking a chance on in that kind of contract. Long-term contract, obviously no, because he's always injured. You could get him in maybe to the start of the season and see how he goes training, see how he goes pre-season matches. If he stays fit, it progresses through that way. I think he can manage it in the Championship. It's whether his body can take it in the Championship. That's the big question.
I think in terms of quality, it's no question he would definitely sort of step into the Championship and have really good form. I feel like sort of what a good compromise might be, and Terry, you sort of along those lines, was maybe a year-long contract to begin with, you know, and say we'll give you a year contract, and yeah, your money is going to be lower than maybe some other people might be offering you. But if after this first year it went, well, this is what we'll pay you in the second year, I feel like so, and then there might be sort of a 2 or 3 year deal at the end of it. I mean, it's all down to him. You know, there'll probably be Championship clubs out there willing to take a chance on him, who can afford to do so, willing to, you know, put loads of money onto his wage, and it's up to him to decide. But you know what? As with so many players that I feel like who could be going, I really wish him all the best. He's a really hard-working lad. He's an amazing footballer, and I feel privileged to have been able to watch him. Go on, Dino.
You know what? There's the mad thing. I've just thought about it there, right? We've played a full season, right? And we've missed most of the season. And our number one player, we would all say, was Aidan McGeady. Wouldn't we? We would all say we need Aidan McGeady in this team. He's so good. He's got that experience. He can take players on. He can a moment of magic. And he never played most of the season. And to see him on the bench yesterday and not come on, and he lifted the... I mean, do you reckon that's him gone now? Do you think that's the end of Aidan McGeady's story at Sunderland? I mean, he's been such a player forward. I mean, I know it didn't start off the best, getting relegated to League One, but he stuck with and it's unfortunate that his injuries hampered him all season, because he was such a vital player. But it shows that Sunderland's depth was actually quite good this season, because we never thought we could get away without having Aidan McGeady in our team, and somehow we've managed to get promoted. So what do you think about that, lads, about the Aidan McGeady situation of him being injured all season, and do you reckon that's his last game?
Yeah, Terry, I think... go on, Terry, go on.
Well, Aidan McGeady's children do go to school in Durham, and I know kids who actually, his parents sort of see them on a regular basis, and sort of what's come out of it over the last couple of seasons is that he's happy with his family being settled where they are. And for me, he'd probably want to stay in the northeast for as long as possible, if not for the foreseeable future, you know. So it's whether or not he's ever going to be fit enough to play for Sunderland again, whether or not he's got anything left in the tank to manage in the Championship. And we don't. My personal opinion is I don't think he has another season in the Championship. That's my personal opinion. But if we were to take him on a year's contract, again, the same sort of circumstances as Broadhead, maybe it's pay as you play, whatever it is. It'd be down to him, because he could get into any club in League One, I would have thought, next season, to be honest, almost any club in League One. So it's whether enough he's good enough in the Championship now, whether he wants to be taken on as a coaching role. We don't know what that sort of situation is. But personally, I don't think if we want to be middle of the table next season, I just don't think it'd be good enough for that standard.
Yeah. I was listening to an Aidan McGeady interview earlier in the season. I think it was the Unfiltered podcast. Hang on, am I on here? There we go. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
I'm a bit blurry. That's all. I was listening to an Aidan McGeady interview earlier in the season. I think it was the Unfiltered podcast, or it might have even been last season with Frankie and Danny. And he actually said in there, Aidan, he sort of wants to play football for as long as he can, because he knows that the second he retires, he's going to miss it. And I think what he was hinting at, saying that even he's already sort of dropped down from what he was at in his peak, where he was at Celtic early in his career and Everton in the Premier League and such. I think what he was getting at is that he wouldn't even sort of drop him down even further in the rankings. But for me, when you've played that few games and actually we've managed to sort of cope without him,
I think Jack's froze there, hasn't he?
Sorry, am I back?
Yeah,
now?
Jack's connection.
You're back now, aye.
Yeah, you're back.
I mean, even if he dropped down to Hartlepool's level, he'd be fantastic for somewhere like Hartlepool. You know, I think he's got a lot to give still in like the League 2 and League 1. Depends how low he wants to drop the player. But if he wanted to take up some sort of coaching role at Sunderland and stay in the area, and if maybe he's got friends at Sunderland, got ties, then I wouldn't be I'll be happy with that as well. You know.
I think all I was going to get at, just talk over the top of his stuff phrasing. I thought all I was going to get at personally was sort of that he genuinely sort of might look to, like the likes of Hartlepool and Darlington and teams like that. And I know that might sound sort of stupid to suggest, but I think personally, when you've been injured that long and when we've coped that well by sort of playing other players instead, I don't really think you can warrant. I don't think you can warrant giving him a contract in a championship. For me, I think other League One, League Two teams will sort of definitely give him a chance. But Terry, if he's saying that he likes sort of living in the Northeast, then he genuinely sort of have to look at those things.
I just led to believe he's happy with his family being settled where they are. It's just so I'm led to believe.
Go on, Dean.
Yeah, Dean.
For me, I think, if he's going to call it a day, I think go for your coaching badges. Who wouldn't want Aidan McGeady learning you how to play as a winger? One of the most skillfulest players, maybe like some of the leagues I've ever seen. He's got his own skill move named after him, the Aidan McGeady spin. The bloke, when it comes to wing play, he knows how to take a player on. He knows how to shoot. He knows how to do most things. He's played at Champions League level. What young kid wouldn't want Aidan McGeady teaching them how to play as a skillful winger? I think having a coach like Aidan McGeady could kick someone on who's very skillful, because Aidan McGeady knows how to do skills, knows when to do skills in the right places. You've got these wingers these days who are doing skills in their own box. You don't really associate with McGeady doing that. You see McGeady doing these skills up in the final third, just beating a player, creating that space, creating goals, having goals himself. So I think it might not be a bad shout. And if he's a coach, he gets to stay in the area as well with his family. So maybe it's not a bad shout for McGeady.
Yeah. I think personally, if we hadn't been promoted, I would have maybe made a case from still in League One. But I think personally, I would have had this season be his last, just because how bad his injuries have been, and as he sort of gets another year older, theoretically that should only really get worse. Go on, Terry.
Yeah, someone like McGeady with his age and his wise head. We don't know how much he's played in a part of helping Alex Neil out over the last few months. Maybe he's been instrumental. He might have been backing him. It's so good how Alex Neil's brought the whole collectiveness together. We're like all off the same hymn sheet. He's brought the club, the fans, the owners, everything. Everyone seems to just come together in this harmony of being happy at this moment in time. And how many times does a manager actually do that? And to have all the players actually want to play for him as well, got all the players back fit, there's nobody injured at this moment in time, so it's just like everything's just come to a pinnacle on the peak and just happened perfectly.
Yeah, I think sort of one thing I would like to bring up as well is obviously now going into the championship. I know we've done really well get promoted, but looking at the current squad, how many do you see, and which players specifically, being able to make that jump and be able to do a good job in the championship? Go on, Terry, I'll start with you.
I actually think Patterson deserves a chance. People say he's not good enough, but how old is he? 22-year-old. Got plenty of time left. He's a goalkeeper. Got loads of improvement to go. He might make that step again from the end of the season to the pre-season to the new season. It might just leap again. All of a sudden, players just suddenly improve. There's no reason why he can't improve again and be a player. He might even be able to hack it in the championship. There's no reason why not for me.
One thing I'll throw out there, would you have him as a first choice, or would you look to get another experienced championship goalkeeper in there and sort of have the two of them playing?
I'd have an experienced championship player come in, but I wouldn't have a problem with him starting first game of the season. If Patterson's starting first game of the season, if all the coaches believe he's got that level of improvement in him and he's improved in him, and like I say, reward players for doing well. He's a young lad come through the academy. He's been here for years, and I think for me, he deserves a chance at least in the championship.
I think for me, what I really like about Patterson, and this is sort of why I give him the edge over Hoffman, is I think sort of earlier in the season, them two were very similar. Both ability, style, what they were good at, what they were bad at. But I feel like Hoffman didn't ever really move forward. He was making the same mistakes every game. His distribution was poor. He was trying to play out from the back too much. He never really wanted to come out of his 6-yard box. He didn't look very confident. But Patterson, you can tell, he's working on his distribution. It's not perfect. I think it still needs to improve more, but it's got better. But for me, the main thing, the amount of crosses that he comes to claim now, and how mature he is and sort of slowing the game down as came on leaps and bounds. It was Wigan away for me when I noticed it for the first time that they were sort of peppering us with crosses towards the end of the game, and he was coming out and collecting them all the time. And it was similar, high pressure stakes yesterday. Wickham loved sort of putting the ball in the box and challenging aerially, and he dealt with it really well and kept a clean sheet. And that's why I do really like Patterson. I do think, however, though, because of his inexperience, I would still probably sign one more very experienced Championship goalkeeper and just sort of see how we fare with those two.
I think also, for me, it looks really unfazed. It looks really cool, calm, collected. He seems like nothing sort of upsets him. He just looks very relaxed on the ball now, very relaxed in goal. He just seems to, nothing phases him at this moment in time. If you bring an experienced sort of goalkeeping coach in who can identify his weaknesses and work on those weaknesses over the summer, there's no reason why he can't step up again in another league.
Go on, Dino.
I mean, I even said Pato wouldn't be able to cut it at this level, at this time in his career, because he had never been proved. I mean, he had been proved at National League and stuff like that, but we all know National League is nothing compared to the leagues we're in now, like the League Ones. And then he went down to League Two, and apparently Notts County says he was really, really good. And then he got his opportunity due to injury with Burge and whatever happened with Hoffman, and he's just never looked back. So, yeah, I think he is capable. I mean, he is capable. He's definitely improved. I mean, at one stage, when he first came in goal, he was running out when he didn't have to. He was punching crosses when he didn't have to. And like yesterday, he claimed everything. He didn't put a foot wrong. He actually saved it with a Sam Vokes shot, because Sam Vokes got his shot away, and he did get, and it nearly trickled under him, and Patterson saved it. He kept a clean sheet. So for me, yeah, Patterson's definitely got a right to start in the Championship. I do think, obviously, Hoffman's going to leave, and I think Burge is gone as well. Burge will go. So we need to sign a keeper regardless. So you need to give him that competition as well. You need to give him a keeper who's going to have competition with, because we've seen in the past, when a keeper doesn't have someone to compete with him, he gets complacent, he gets lackadaisy, because he knows if I made a mistake, he's not going to put him in goal. So you need to have that competition between keepers. So you need to get the right keeper in, because if you remember the last season when we had Wright at camp and whoever the other keeper was, that was awful. You need to have keepers who are quite similar, who are quite good.
I think Burge will just sort of move on to a pretty average League One club. He might have to drop down the standing because obviously he's not really match fit. As for Hoffman, I think there might have actually been a clause in his contract that we have to sign.
He didn't play enough games. He didn't play enough games, I don't think.
I don't know the ins and outs of it. I would imagine it'll come out over the next few weeks or so, but I know there was a clause in his contract about us going up and him automatically joining. I hope we have some say in it, because I think with the foresight we've got now, we would probably now say we don't want him. You know, I think Hoffman would if he was going to stay in England, I think he would do well. So having another couple of seasons down this level, but I think he'd be better off going back to Germany. Go on, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that.
Go on, Terry.
I heard a story somewhere that someone said to us that there was somebody, when Alex Neil was getting his badges, and obviously in the classroom or whatever, somebody who was telling us, this person said Alex Neil was head and shoulders above everybody out there at that moment in time getting his badges. You just knew it was just miles above everybody else. Now he's probably come in, identify what Patterson needs to do to improve his game, and instill confidence in the lad. Alex Neil, straight talking bloke, he'd have told Patterson, and there's no reason why Patterson would want to come in next season in the Championship and just relax on his laurels. If someone like him, a young lad like him, would probably want to go all the way to the top, and the only way you do that is through hard work, determination, graft, and just be, next season in the Championship, take the bull by the horns, really go for it and work your socks off every single match. This lad, Pickford came through the ranks, and look where Pickford is now. There's no reason at all. There's nothing out there stopping Patterson being exactly in the same boat.
You know, 100% right. But on the Hoffman and Giorgio situation, because you still need to remember he's still on loan as well. We don't want to have
I think Jackie was a case of just loan, and that was it. I do believe.
No. Actually, because he signed for that new team, didn't he? You're right, he did. He signed for that new team before he came to us. But on the Hoffman thing, we don't need another Ricky Alvarez situation where we signed Alvarez on loan, and apparently he played so many games, and we had to sign him. And at the end of the season, there was a massive court debate, and Arnold had to pay that out his own pocket about the Ricky Alvarez situation, because that was still ongoing, even though it was like 5 years after. So we don't want to be in another situation like that where it's going to cost us money. So I think, do you not reckon that's why Hoffman never played ever a big game, because he was coming up to the certain threshold of how many games he's played, and then we had to buy him. So maybe that's why he never got back. But plus, let's be fair, he wasn't going to get in front of Patterson when Patterson was playing the way he was.
Do you know what? I think if Hoffman had been playing out of his skin, you could make a case for keep on going. But just in my opinion, I think he was just sort of loitering. You know, he was making the same mistakes. He was okay for League One, probably a mid-table sort of League One goalkeeper. He was okay, but he wasn't correcting his errors. He was just sort of doing making the same mistakes and not moving forward. Go on, Dino.
Questions on both of you as well. Obviously, Callum Doyle had a great start the season and he lacked off. We were seeing he playing too many games and all that. What's your overall assessment on Callum Doyle? Because, again, he couldn't even get in the team when Neil came in. It was always Bart and Serkin and Wright. So, Terry, what do you think about that, about Callum Doyle's full season, and where do you think he goes?
I'll just go back to the Patterson thing first. I think
Yes, no problem,
to do with the Hoffman and everything, I think someone like Alex Neil's come in, looked at the whole situation, did his homework, looked at the whole situation and come in and thinking, why have we got a player from Germany come all the way over here on loan at this club with the potential to have to buy him after so many games when we've got a player here like Patterson who's probably going to be just as good, if not better. And he's identified it and thought, let's reward the young players. Let's reward the players who've been to this club, who sacrificed all the years at this club, who want to play for Sunderland. Who he's seeing just as much ability in Patterson that he's seeing in Hoffman, and he's promoted him. Like Lee Johnson should have done it ages ago. Instead of being a yes man, he should have just promoted Patterson and left him in the team. So I credit Alex Neil. He seems to sort of getting the ability to find extra out of these players. Now, to do with Doyle, there's no reason why Doyle, in a couple of years' time, could be a championship player. Is he going to be a championship player next season? I have my doubts. I think maybe not. I think maybe we need the experience in the back line like we have at this moment in time. And I'm not saying Bart and Wright are going to be the ideal, perfect sort of centre-backs for next season. But I'm saying that them two is a kind of level for me between the edges of sort of 24 to the edges of possibly about 30. You want to have your centre-backs really quality. You need some experience in there, because that's where, like we're saying with Lee Johnson, it all falls apart. You've got to keep the clean sheets. You've got to have a good back line. You've got to be able to have a good backbone and not let goals in, so you can let players up front go and score the goals and win games. You keep clean sheets, you win games. We've proven it over the last 15 games. Alex Neil, we have let some goals in, yes, but when we keep the clean sheets like yesterday, you win a game of football.
I think for me with Callum Doyle, he started off absolutely brilliantly, and I think he was just sort of mismanaged. It was one of Johnson's biggest letdowns. Was he sort of? I don't think he really knew how to bring the younger players through while sort of thinking about the longer term. Doyle was playing really well at the start of the season, and I just thought he would just sort of keep playing him. And there was a point when he was sort of making quite a lot of errors that were leading to goals. He had a bad run of form over October time. He got better towards Christmas, and then I think in the new year, sort of around Bolton away, his confidence was low and he was bang on to form. And I think he was struggling to cope with first team football to the extent he was getting asked to play. And I think if we had a manager who sort of could take him out the team when he wasn't playing so well, then put him back in again when he's maybe ready to come in, work on the areas that he's weak on and sort of help him out, we would have seen a different story. But him and Dan Neil, and to a smaller extent Serkin as well, we're all pretty similar in that regard. I think Doyle could probably benefit from having another sort of full season in League One under his belt. However, I wouldn't be opposed to potentially sort of getting him on loan in the Championship. But for me, it would have to be if the money was right and if he was sort of going to be coming in without the pressure of needing to start. But I think Man City will want him to go on loan to League One for a full season and get a full year of playing under his belt, as opposed to come to us in the Championship where he's going to be maybe in and out the squad.
To be fair to Lee Johnson, I'm not quite sure at the time, but I think we didn't have many fit centre-backs at the time. We had Flanagan, we had Doyle, I know Wright was injured, Jamajli was injured. I don't know who else we had. Who else was there? Bart wasn't even there at the time, so we didn't have that many.
I think Jamajli was sort of getting fitter, but the problem for me with Jamajli is that he'd been playing for the under-23s. Literally,
yeah, but he wasn't fit enough to come back into the league one set up straight away.
No, but I feel like he was. I remember there was one occasion when Jamajli was playing for the under-23s every game, and Doyle was sort of making really poor mistakes, and it just, for me, it seemed glaringly obvious. Even if Jamajli was going to come in, at least you're sort of protecting Doyle a bit.
I think the Dan Neil situation, I think Alex Neil's come in and just protected Dan Neil because he sees potential in them and he can improve again over the pre-season again to the championship. I think he just thought, right, let's just get this season over. Let's get this win. Make sure we get promoted this season. Let's protect Dan Neil. Let's improve him. Nurture his talent, get him better, and the whole situation. I think Dan Neil will improve again.
Sorry, lads. Obviously, I've been looking at the comments. I know I haven't mentioned the comments a lot lately because obviously that's Phil's job. But I've seen a lot of people mention names which I totally forgot played for the club. Jordan Willis, you've just mentioned Jamarsley. I totally forgot about him. Niall Huggins. These. Try Hume. I mean, there's so many players we've still got, and we haven't even mentioned them. Like what happens with Willis? I'm sure he'll be going. Niall Huggins. I mean, he looked good, but he was injured all season, unfortunately for him. Jamarsley, is that him done? Even though he played 3 games and he looked amazing. I mean, what do you think about all these players who we've even forgotten about?
I tend to think. I think Alex Neil. It's funny because Lee Johnson probably didn't rate Jamarsley that much. I don't think Alex Neil sort of brought him in and maybe thought it's just we've got more sort of experience in Bart and we have in there right than we have with Jamarsley. Again, might be just protecting him, thinking maybe he's had a bad injury. This season's a bit too soon. Get him through the pre-season. Whether he's here next season, I don't know. And then move them on again. Huggins again, bad injury. He looked talented. He looked really talented. He could be a player for the championship if he could stay injury-free. It's whether you want to take that chance. And who was the other one again? We said, Jordan Willis. Jordan Willis is back training now. But again, after that long injury, will he ever get back to what he was when he first came to the club? Do you want to take that chance? Is he going to be able to hack it in the championship? I can't answer these questions. Only the coaches can do that. But for me, I don't think we'll see Jamarsley or we'll see you next season.
For me, with Jamarsley, as soon as Alex Neil came in, he commented on 2 things specifically. One, there were some players who played far too many minutes and some players who hadn't played enough minutes, meaning the fitness and the sharpness was all a cock. It was just sort of all over. And secondly, he said that the group of players that were playing week in, week out weren't experienced enough on the whole. And I think that's why, for me, as soon as Bart was up to his full fitness, he put Bart in alongside Wright with Evans in front of them. Because to be fair, and I criticised Evans quite a lot, and even Wright and Bart to an extent this season, that little trio we've got sort of in the middle has really helped. And I think it's really sort of grown with time, and it allows the players like Sirkin and Gooch, sort of 9 who've been around him, who aren't as experienced, especially in those positions. I think it sort of helped them. Sirkin's in his first sort of full senior season. Having those 3 lads just right next to him who were really experienced probably helped them, just sort of talking them through games. Evans knows Sirkin's positional awareness isn't going to be up to scratch with someone who's 28, 29. So he fills in for him, and I think that's really worked well. Is those 3.
He's got a really good balance there with youth and with experience at this moment in time. And actually, Jamarsley, you forget how young he is. He's still, I mean, is he only about 21, 22? He's still really relatively young, and he's missed the whole year. So again, he's probably come back, been played a couple of times, and Alex Neil's probably thought, yes, he needs to sort of be careful with his fragile body over the last season, and he could potentially improve again, being that age. He looks much older than he actually is. He looks like he's a big bloke. He looks like he's in his mid-20s, but he's still relatively young, and even younger in playing terms as well. So he could be one that could improve again next season.
But, I mean, do you think we're going to wrap this up, lads? I mean, it's getting on, and we've come up about 2 hours. But probably final question I was going to say, lads, out of all the weekends you've had, how did that weekend live up for yous?
Go on, Terry.
On a football scheme of things, I have to say it was probably the best weekend I've had. Emotionally wise, and just there's lots of Sunderland fans over the years who've never seen them win at Wembley. And I've got friends and people I've known over the years who've passed away, who will miss the opportunity, and hopefully they're watching down from heaven, God rest their souls, So you have to experience it, and it was a fantastic weekend, and it's great for the club, and we did it finally, and nice to win at Wembley and have all them thousands of fans there. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who's come up to us. I've never so many people come to say hello to us and everything, and all just been absolutely amazing. So many lovely people out there in the world, absolutely fantastic.
Terry, believe it or not, I had a couple of people come up to me, and I'm like, don't get us wrong. Like, the first time I ever seen you out and about before this, I would never go up to you and go, hey, I couldn't, it's not in me. And there was a couple of people outside the ground and in the ground just looked at us and went, you don't know who I am, but I watch you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like taken away. I was like, wow, like, just like someone wants to come up and talk to us. Do you know what I mean? For just sitting talking to you lot on here. And like, I'm not a nasty bloke. Like, I'm very approachable. Like, I don't mind if you want to come up and have a chat with us. I really don't. I'm a proper people person. I really am. But everyone who did come up to us and say hello and shook my hand, thank you very much. Because I mean, I do appreciate it. I really do. Jack, what about?
Dino, you have this rugged-looking angriness about you, but you really have a nice little soft centre inside, don't you? Little soft centre, little caramel centre, little caramel centre.
He's a nice guy. No, I think for me, footballing wise, best weekend overall life. That has been one of the best weekends of my life. You know, the football almost sort of was forgotten about at a certain time because you know the high we were all on, and for me, it just sort of that weekend for me made up for 4 years of tolerating League One. It's been absolutely awful, and I hope we never have to play this league ever again. So I talked to one of the blokes who stands near me in the stadium on the train on the way back, just bumping into him and got talking. So like, it's going to be nice. Sort of, this is an exact quote from him, looking at your phone and going, "Oh, it's not going. Oh, we've got Gillingham on Tuesday night. I'm gonna have to go to that one." You know what I mean? It just sort of it made it so worthwhile. It was Friday night was great. I'd never done the Trafalgar Square party the night before, and it lived up to the expectation. The match was horrible, really, but you know, to witness it. But we did it, and for me, just Saturday night, it was just so good. Everyone in Trafalgar Square was so happy, and it, you know, I was just thinking at a point in the night, sort of about all the poor results, especially this season, and the long journeys for nothing. But you know, absolutely brilliant. I want to give a quick shout out as well to Jay Woodhead and those massive South Yorkshire Mackems. There we go, Jay Woodhead. He loves putting on a show as well. I'll put that one out there. Terry, what you were going to say?
I've been physically fit and strong for years. I've got back and run hundreds of miles over the years, but on Saturday, I'm not as fit as I used to be. I just felt drained, absolutely drained through the whole of the match, and I felt I got no energy in my legs. I've had to sit down. I just felt like my legs were going to give way. I just felt like that's what the occasion took out of us, and I just wanted it to be over as soon as possible. It's just an unreal situation.
I'm looking forward to seeing the footage Philly was getting, because for the 2 goals, and especially Stewart's, I almost didn't celebrate. I was just sort of stood there in shock, like amazed at what was happening. I didn't sort of know how to act, and I think Philly sort of caught me in the edge of the shot, and I'd be interested to see it back. Go on, Dino, you want to? I
must admit, the only thing what disappointed me about the whole Trafalgar Square was the police and the new rules were put out that when you first got there, they were telling you couldn't drink. Shops around the area weren't allowed to sell you alcohol and stuff like that. They were telling you to chuck it out. And once it gets too hard, the police, they just let it go. I'm sorry, but like, they were trying to kill like what atmosphere it was going to be by doing that, and I thought it was really bang out of order, because in the last couple of years we've been there, it hasn't been a problem. Why was it such a problem this time? Do you know what I mean? I thought it was really bang out of order for them to try and stop the Trafalgar Square takeover, but it still didn't stop. We're still down there and we're thousands, still drinking, still in the pond, still doing what Sunderland fans do, and the fact they try to spoil it, I think it's shame on them. Unbelievable. But again, Sunderland turned out in the numbers and we've done what we've done.
See, I think for me that the best thing they could have done, like you say, Dino, there's never been any trouble in recent years. If they've been fighting and assaults and, you know, sort of, you know, I don't know, any vandalising going on, I could sort of understand them wanting to hold it down. But for me, I think the best thing that the police could have done was, have lots of police around the area in case anything does happen, and have them dotted around the entrances and exits. And have a few sort of wandering around, roaming around. And if any trouble starts, get in there straight away. Like last night, towards right at the end of the night, about 11 o'clock, I think someone set off a fire. And I don't just mean like a little smoke bomb or something. I think they actually set a fire. And I think he ended up getting arrested because it was genuinely quite dangerous. There was a lot of people in that area. But for me, I think it actually created more problems than it resolved. Them sort of trying to... They would just look like killjoys. I think the best thing they could have done for me is just, as soon as bother starts happening, clamp down. And apart from that, just let people have fun. Go on, Terry.
Right, yeah. The first thing is Wembley Way, no alcohol. I haven't got a problem with that one single bit. I thought it all went according to plan. You can drink in the pubs. I stayed at the Premier Hotel. People were drinking in the forecourt there, in the hotel, outside there. I think having no cans up and down Wembley Way, no problem whatsoever with that. I thought Trafalgar Square on the night time on the Friday night, I thought they were going to stop all drinking, but eventually they just sort of surrounded the whole of Trafalgar Square, let everybody go inside and let everybody drink. And they didn't really bother anybody that could see inside Trafalgar itself. Everyone was just drinking, and all the mess that was made that was in there would be probably easy to clean up next day compared to be dotted around all over London and sort of drinking everywhere. So I thought the police on the first night, on the Friday night, I thought they controlled it quite well. I heard they were a bit rough last night, so I wasn't there after a certain time. I didn't experience any of that, but I'm quite happy with Wembley Way like that being alcohol free, and I'm quite happy with everyone drinking inside Trafalgar Square and having like outside of Trafalgar Square a no drinking zone.
Yeah,
you missed the early part of it. I mean, Jack was there with Phil and Kaza. It was the early part when there was just like not a lot, because you can police that. You can't police it when you've got thousands there, because it's physically impossible, because that means people are getting away with it, people are not. But the whole Wembley Way thing, I mean, not everyone's at them hotels. Do you know what I mean? Like, not everyone's at the certain hotels. It's hard to get into the box park. So me and my mate went into Wembley dead early. I was in Wembley by 1 o'clock. I was in the stadium because that's where you could get the drink at the time. And to be fair, I only had one or two, and then I was like, I'm not really feeling it. But it's just the people who were expecting to go down there, have a little drink, and you can't get in anywhere because everywhere's full. So,
do you know, for me, I think the one thing Wembley need to do better is advertise where the pubs are. I mean, obviously, if you're sitting in a hotel like Terry, it's ideal. I stayed in the Premier in earlier this season for an England game, and it's perfect because you can just sort of sit there and drink. But obviously, you've got to be guest of the hotel to get in. Box park. I've never actually managed to get into box park. It always seems if it's got different rules, but there's loads of bars. The Green Man, we were in a place called Crystal. There was a few others sort of behind Wembley, the opposite direction of Wembley Park Tube Station, but it's not really very well advertised. I think if there was better directions, apparently there's a few on the side streets as well, sort of going up Wembley Way. I think if there were sort of better sort of directions and it was better advertised, I think that's the main thing for me. Like, lads,
on a whole, I think great weekend. It was great to see his lads down there. It really was. I mean, I seen Terry with Wincy, I seen you, Jack, I seen Kaza. The only thing I didn't get a photo with Terry, and I didn't get a photo with Kaza and Phil. That was the only thing I'm a bit gutted about, because I would have loved to get photos of them. But I hope everyone did get home safe from Wembley. I hope nobody got into any trouble down there. Anyone got punched in the face by sly Wickham fans or anything like that. I just hope everyone got home safe and sound. Everyone was happy about the result, and everyone just had a great weekend. I just hope everyone got home safely.
I think we all echo those thoughts, lads. Are we going to? I think we're going to wrap this up now.
Yeah, I think it's time. We've been on nearly 2 hours, mate. I mean, yeah, I just think this show warranted a longer one because we won Wembley. There was so much to talk about the game, outside the game, before the game, the Friday. I think we've covered it all. I do, and everyone who has watched, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and obviously credit to the lads for staying on for an extra hour.
Yeah, we are going to leave it there, and I think this is sort of more or less us, sort of rest. Like,
we might try and get one more in. We want to go through like player season and all that stuff.
We have got a couple of ideas. Sort of, I think we're going to do a bit of a general season review, player of the season, most improved, goal of the season, that sort of thing. We may do a few more videos, sort of looking specifically at maybe transfer targets and sort of reviewing our own squad, maybe who stays and who goes, that sort of thing. But I think for the meantime, at least for maybe the next week or so, we are just going to sort of take off the gas and just sort of put an end to the streams just for a short while. You know, it's nice just to sort of take a break from it and take a step back. Terry, have you got any final words for anyone on the what could be?
Yeah, I've got one more video coming out either today tomorrow, a bit more footage of Wembley and after party with Vincey and Jonas with the flares and everything. But I just want to say, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. We've been to Wembley, que sera, sera.
I think as we are literally going out, I might get you to sing that one more time and sing us out. Dino, I know you had a few words there. Have you got anything else you want to say before we go off?
Once again, thanks for everyone turning up to watch. Thank you for anyone who came up and shook my hand and says, I watch you and you do a good show and all that. I do appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words and bring on next season.
Yeah.
Right,
let's all sing it together, lads. Come on.
Terry,
1, 2.
Right there.
Right.
We aren't fully wrong. No, echo what you're saying, Dino. Thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, sort of people coming up with us, and that was nice. So thank you to for everyone who supports the channel. We will be back better than ever next season. But we aren't quite going yet. There'll be 1 or 2 more streams we have got to get there. We're going to do before we do turn our laptops off for the remainder of the summer. Just very quickly, 297 likes. So thank you very much to everyone who hit the like button. That's more likes than we've had in a long time. And just a reminder as well, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. Very easily done. Just hit that subscribe button and you won't miss out on any of our future streams or videos, which of course we do have some planned in the pipeline. But from myself, Jack Dodds, from Dino Algar, and from Terry the Mad Mistake, thank you for watching. See you later. Terry, sing us out.
All together. 1, 2, 3.
Que sera,
sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be.
We've been to Wembley. Que sera, sera.
Sorry,
used to it, useless. Used to it. It's a no from me.
Dino on 3. 1, 2, 3. Terry's well. Mescal.
Mescal.
Terry.
See you later.